About the Balls podcast
with Mark Davis, Krista Meinhardt, Luke Rule, Jake Winnikine, Alan Tomasella, and Nick the Doc Skirkle. Good evening. I'm Mark Davis, alone at the moment. This is All About the Balls podcast. It is Wednesday, October 16, 2024. We are at the halfway mark of October. We're literally almost done with October. Halloween's right around the corner. And man, oh man, have we stumbled into an amazing college football and NFL weekend. And that's what we're here to discuss tonight. I will be joined shortly with Chris Meinhardt, Nick the Doc Skirkwins. But yeah, we have a very packed schedule ahead of us. Not on the show, not just on the show, I'm sorry, but also on the NFL and NCAAF slate. That's right. We start Thursday night with the New Orleans Saints and the Denver Broncos. Not something we're going to talk about besides our prediction segment, but that is Chris's team. And then Saturday, we jump into a big college football weekend. My team, Texas, number 1, hosting number 5, Georgia, as this is a battle of the SEC, battle with that has college football playoffs and SEC implications. That's right. That is a must-win game, in my opinion, for the Georgia Bulldogs. They really need that to stay afloat with the SEC. They already have 1 conference loss. They don't want to make it 2. That's right. And then Alabama, number 7, travels to Knoxville to face the number 11 Tennessee Volunteers. That is in my opinion, lose and you're out game. There's no way that you're going to win or lose that game and make it to the SEC championship. Sunday, man, oh man, what an NFL slate we have ahead of us. We have Texans and Packers. We have Lions and Vikings, Chiefs, Niners, Jets, Steelers, Ravens, Bucks. That's just Monday night as well right there. And then I know it's not a big game for people because the Giants aren't the best, but Saquon Barkley returning to New York. We're going to talk about that, what we think his predictions or what his stat line is going to be, what he's going to finish with. It's going to be electric there. But yeah, we're coming into the weekend. Like I said, big weekend. If you are tuning in and you are listening, hey, give us a shout out, give us a like, give us a thumbs up. Join us in the comment section to let us know what you want us to hear, what you want to hear tonight when it comes to this NFL and college football weekend. We're also going to we're going to talk about our college football predictions that we made for the playoffs before the season, because we're halfway over the season now. So we're going to talk about that as well. But if you're paying attention, also share us out there. Give us a share. Like I said, get us in here. I wasn't planning on being here alone at 9:15, so I am solo right now. But I'll start us off here with, in my opinion, one of the biggest games of the weekend for the NFL slate. I will start us off with the Houston Texans and the Green Bay Packers. That's right. You have C.J. Stroud, second year in the NFL. Jordan Love, his second year as a starting quarterback, going head-to-head in Lambeau Field. I mean, there's nothing better than these two. Honestly, I think this is going to be the best game of the weekend. I think that this game, it sucks it's on 1 p.m. too, because my team plays at 1 p.m. But you have C.J. Stroud, who's coming off Rookie of the Year. He's 7th in passing yards. 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I get it. Jordan Love wasn't here to start the season. 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I'm sorry. 12 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So he's having a phenomenal year. And I think this is a good test for both quarterbacks as they are playing 2 really good defenses. Houston, honestly, is one of the top teams at getting to the quarterback. They are a top 3 to 5 pass rushing unit when it comes to pressures. They're also right here. They're number they're at 19 sacks on the year. They're literally like top 6, 7 right there in that category. So they get to the quarterback. Green Bay, no scrub neither. They get to the quarterback 16 times. Green Bay forces the most turnovers in the league at 17. Houston's not a big turnover team with only 7, but hey, they're getting to the quarterback. They're not allowing a lot of points. So which quarterback between C.J. Stroud and Jordan Love, which one of these guys is going to make the other defense crack under pressure? Is it going to be a defensive game? I don't necessarily think it's going to be too defensive. I think it's going to have some moments of defensive stands, defensive stops, maybe some turnovers, some sacks, and whatnot. But when it comes to these two teams, I really think that this right here is going to be a slobber knocker. Like I said, Houston's a third-ranked defense when it comes to yards given up. Green Bay does give up a little bit of yards there, but they're a bend but don't break defense. They don't give up too many points, which honestly is what you want. You know, they're giving up only 20 points a game. So that's good. I mean, their offense, as long as they can score on Houston's defense, it's going to be phenomenal. Now, Jordan Love's only playing in his 5th game of the season. He's 2-2 as a starter this year. So we're going to see if now the momentum has finally carried over from the first 4 games. I get it. Yeah, I get it. He lost his first 2 games, and then he's come back on a 2-game winning streak. They are 4-2. And if they want to keep up with the Minnesota Vikings, who play the Detroit Lions, we're going to talk about that one as well. Can the Green Bay Packers, can they win this game, stay afloat in the NFC North, keep it going? Because that's what's going to have to happen. They can't just lose this game, because even if the Lions win, now they're a couple games back of the Lions too, and the Texans, they kind of are running away with the AFC South. Even with a loss here, they're not going to be behind. They're going to be in first place. So the Green Bay Packers, to me, it's more of a must-win in Week 7. I know we're to say it's already a must-win game. It's not necessarily a must-win game. They're going to be in the playoffs most likely as a wild card team at the worst. But a lot of questions right now about can CJ Stroud win this game without Nico Collins? Not a crazy game. I mean, yeah, I'm sorry. It was against the New England Patriots. They had a crazy outburst there. Joe Mixon coming back too. It's also going to be a good running back game with Joe Mixon and Josh Jacobs, 2 running backs that are playing at a high level at the moment. Joe Mixon did miss some games, so his stats obviously aren't there. But the games he has been in, when he finishes the game, I mean, boy, he looks special. I mean, over 150 yards the first game. He also helped carry the game last week against the New England Patriots. Josh Jacobs is doing Josh Jacobs' thing. I mean, this is Josh Jacobs that was the second to last year with the Las Vegas Raiders, right? I mean, he's 5th in rushing yards. Yeah, he's only got 1 touchdown, but he's averaging a lot of yards a game. And Joe Mixon, like I said, he's a dog. He's there. Can Stephon Diggs, who knows Lambeau Field, can he get the boys going there in Green Bay? That's something that you want to see. Can Tank Dell also participate with Stephon Diggs? I think Jordan Love has the advantage here. I think Jordan Love having his full arsenal, Christian Watson's back, Romeo Doubs seems happy, by the way. No more holdout from Romeo Doubs. Not at all. He's back. He had a great game last week. And like I said, so did Watson. Jaden Reed's an animal. And like I said, Aaron Jones is doing Aaron Jones things. Xavier McKinney, my opinion, this year, best safety in the NFL. If you're watching out there, let me know what you think about the Green Bay Packers and the Houston Texans this weekend. What are your predictions? We're going to do predictions at the end of towards the end of the hour here, closer to 10 o'clock, around like the 40-minute mark of the show. But what do you think the advantages are for each team? Who do you think has the advantage? What do you think a certain team needs to do? Do you think it's the Packers are more in trouble? Do you think the Texans are more in trouble? Just let me know if you are tuning back in after the live recording, of course. Put it in the comment section. Let us know what you think on YouTube. I mean, and we will be there. So I can't decide. I mean, I know I'm going to have all night or next 30-ish minutes to decide who I have winning this game. I really don't. I don't know who's going to win this game. It's too. The Texans, besides last week, the offense has been shaky. So it's just the Texans we're going to get from last week, the New England Patriots when they played them. Or are we going to get the first few weeks where they kind of were struggling? Yeah, Nelson, Texans with the W. That's kind of the way I've been leaning, has been the Houston Texans. I wouldn't be shocked, though, Nelson, if the Packers pulled it off. I mean, Lambeau Field still is a tough place to play. It's going to be it's October weather now. I mean, it's not going to be hot and warm like Houston likes it, but it's going to be tough. I like Jordan Love, but I kind of want to hold back on the Jordan Love because I want to see more of it. I mean, I guess I've given CJ Stroud a lot of credit, but I was also high on CJ Stroud when he came out of the NFL draft. I still think he should have been the first overall pick last year. But he wasn't. And that's neither here or there. But sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with the boys here. told me 9, and then they told me 9:15, and currently it's 9:26, and no sign of anyone. So it's going to be a rough one if it's just me. So please engage with me. Please have some fun here. I might end up coming back to some of these conversations just because Doc and Chris aren't here yet. Well, I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on to the Minnesota Vikings, the Detroit Lions, and oh boy, what a game we are in for here with the 5-0 Minnesota Vikings, surprisingly 5-0 too. No one had the Vikings 5-0 coming into the season, and then the 4-1 Detroit Lions. And sorry, now Jake's getting in. So yeah, this is a big game. Obviously, this is the first game without Aiden Hutchinson, so we are going to see how it's going to be with the pass rush. Now, that's what we are. I think that the defenses for both these teams, that's where my eyes are on is, yes, the Vikings, one of the top defenses in the NFL. Like, I'm not going to dispute that whatsoever. They are a amazing defense. I mean, they've been shut down every offense that they've been playing this year. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Are the Vikings coming back to earth? That's what I want to see. The last time they started off 5-0 was in 2016. They went 8-8 to end the season. They were 8-8, and that is what it is. But the thing is that the Minnesota Vikings, we're talking about teams that get to the quarterback. They have 20 sacks in 5 games. They're getting 4 sacks a game. That's a lot for a team. That's crazy right there. And another thing that the Minnesota Vikings do is they give up, they're the top half of the league in yards, but we're talking bend, don't break. They've only given up 15.2 points a game, and the Detroit Lions, 18.2 as well. So, like, which defense is going to give up those points? I mean, we keep saying that the Detroit Lions give up a lot of yards and whatnot. Yeah, they're towards, honestly, they're not that. They're towards the bottom with the pass defense, but they don't give a lot of yards in general. The thing is because the offense controls the rock. They control the ball. They run the ball with, they pound it with Dave Montgomery. They give it to Jahmyr Gibbs. And that's where it is. I mean, these guys control the clock. If they can control time possession and keep Justin Jefferson and potentially Aaron Jones off the field and Jordan Addison, I think that this could be the Detroit Lions game to win here. Now, I think that the Minnesota Vikings clearly have the advantage, clearly have the edge in this game. Like I said, Aiden Hutchinson just went down. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? I'm interested to see also potentially TJ Hawkinson returning back. This is a revenge game for him, former Detroit Lion, and the Detroit Lions were the ones that hurt him last year towards the end of the season. So what is TJ Hawkinson going to look like? Now we're starting to, and VR and Nelson, if you're still there, man, maybe they don't come back to earth. Maybe that they weren't even on the correct planet, as you can say. Maybe they're not on, maybe they were already on planet Earth. You're getting TJ Hawkinson back. Let's say that Hawkinson is about 75% of who he was to start this campaign. And then now you have TJ Hawkinson with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. I mean, and you have Naylor out there, Jalen Naylor, who's playing pretty decent as a number 3. Not saying he's anything special, but he's playing good as a number 3. Aaron Jones is one of the best running backs in football this year, too. Yeah, I think Detroit can go. I think Detroit can go with him. Don't get me wrong. Detroit, their offense is going to be the key to this game. Keep the Vikings off the field. But that's the situation is the Vikings don't allow offenses to get going. They don't allow offenses to score and get these crazy offensive explosive plays. So Montgomery and Gibbs, they're the key to me. Ben Johnson, the coordinator, Ben Johnson has to call the correct plays. Cam, I agree with you. TJ Hawkinson changes everything. I mean, he really does. TJ Hawkinson coming back. Now, how impactful was he this week? I mean, it's his first game back. hasn't had any, obviously just practicing, hasn't had game speed, didn't get to really do anything in the offseason. So how does that first game back impact him? We'll find out if he plays Sunday. I think long term it's going to help the Vikings even more with a good, like they're 5-0. I mean, they're 5, but I still think that Detroit could do this. I don't think losing Aiden Hutchinson, don't get me wrong, it's huge. It's bad. I think that they're still a Super Bowl caliber team. I think this is a really good team. I think Dan Campbell gets the boys fired up. I think Ben Johnson's got Jared Goff playing good football. I mean, the last couple of weeks he's been playing electric against the Seahawks, against the Cowboys. He's starting to warm up. I'd like to see Sam Laporta get more involved. That's something I'm looking at as well. But I want to see if also on the defensive end for the Lions, if they can contain Justin Jefferson, if they can control Jordan Addison and Aaron Jones. The corners, like I said last night, if you guys were watching and if you're listening, after the live recording, I said the corners for the Detroit Lions, they have to be big. They have to be bigger than they were. Carlton Davis and the rookies that they drafted, they have to step it up now. You have to give the pass rush a chance to get to the quarterback without Aiden Hutchinson. So you have to control Jettas. I mean, and that's no easy task. Don't get me wrong. Justin Jefferson is arguably the best receiver in football. I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying arguably you can make a case for him. Jordan Addison is a solid number 2. So, yeah, holding JJ is a tough task. I agree with you, Cam. So this is a division rival. And we also forgot to say it, winner of this game is in first place. If the Lions win, they are in first place. Tiebreaker goes to the Lions. If the Vikings win, they are 2 games ahead of the Lions, at least a game and a half over the Packers. Packers haven't had a bye week yet. So if the Lions win this game, it changes everything for the NFC North because now the Bears are also 1 game back. Every team in the NFC North has a winning record. The NFC North is what we thought the AFC North was going to be. AFC North last year had all 4 teams a winning record, but we thought the NFC North this year was going to be like the AFC North. So, yes, we're going to see Nelson if Sam Darnold and the Vikings come back to earth. Riz does not think so. He's my local Vikings guy. He gives me all the updates with the Minnesota Vikings. He's one of my sources out there. So I'm interested to see what Kevin O'Connell has planned up or drawn up for TJ Hawkinson if he plays, what Brian Flores has for the defense, what he's going to do to keep Ben Johnson guessing out there, because that's what I'm saying. It's going to be a explosive game here. I think with not explosive as like 40 points or whatnot, but I think it's going to be a good hard-nosed battle. I think you're going to see some good offensive games, but you're also going to see some good defensive plays as well. You're going to see a mixture of both. It's kind of going to be like a mid-20s in my opinion, if you ask me. And speaking of asking me, I'm going to talk about it. Saquon Barkley is returning back to New York. He's facing the New York Giants. This is his first game back against his former team, and I get it. I was going to mention it to Chris, but Sean Payton coming back to New Orleans is not a revenge game. Saquon Barkley coming to New York is a revenge game. If you watch HBO Max and you saw Hard Knocks, the training camp edition, the offseason edition, where the Giants were going through their little things with the players are going to keep, like the draft positions and all that stuff. I mean, you obviously seen that. You obviously seen what happened with Saquon Barkley and the general manager for the New York Giants. So, that's what I was going to say. This is going to, Cam, I agree with you. This is going to be a Saquon Barkley game. I mean, he's already 4th in rushing yards, just 3 behind Chuba Herbert. Shout out to Chuba Herbert, too. I mean, not the Panthers guy, but Saquon Barkley is the best player on the Philadelphia Eagles this year. 91 carries, 482 yards. He's averaging 5.3 yards a carry, half a first down right there on the ground. He's got 4 touchdowns, and he's got some catches, just under 100 yards. This is going to be a 200-plus scrimmage yards game for Saquon Barkley. He's going to have at least 200 yards total. And I'm saying 2 touchdowns. I agree with you, Nelson. A revenge game indeed for Saquon Barkley as he travels back to MetLife. I honestly wish that this was a Thursday night football game. I wish that the NFL would have put this game on primetime. Maybe not Monday with the Bucs and Ravens. Sucks to have 2 games there. And maybe not Sunday now that the Jets-Steelers kind of looks like it might be an interesting game with Devontae Adams going there, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. This should have been Thursday night. I get it. Sean Payton's coming back to New Orleans. You could have maybe moved one of those games a different week. But this game had to be Thursday night football because all eyes are going to be on Saquon Barkley. Like I hate it that it's a 1 o'clock game because I have the Falcons on at 1 o'clock. So I'm going to have the multi-screen, which is I hate doing, but I want to see teams like Houston and Green Bay. I want to see the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings, and I definitely want to see Saquon Barkley against the New York Giants. I hope, as much as I don't like the Phillies or the Eagles, I hope the Giants win. But I hope Saquon Barkley torches them. I hope he drops 200, 250 yards, because the fact that they let him walk, it was disappointing, and it was embarrassing. I get Daniel Jones when you playoff game, but Saquon Barkley was a New York Giant. He was the heart and soul of this team, and we see what he's doing in Philly. And I think that this game is going to be a Saquon Barkley game. I'm not saying, Cam, that they won't throw the ball, but you're going to see a lot of Saquon Barkley, whether it's the passing game or in the rushing game. Saquon Barkley is going to have a fantastic game against his former team, the New York Giants. Malik Neighbors and Saquon, I agree with you there. Malik Neighbors and Saquon Barkley would have been an interesting combination, and that would have. And I'm not saying Daniel Jones is doing decent. That's a strong word, decent. But that would have definitely helped Daniel Jones. Getting Malik Neighbors and Saquon Barkley back there, yeah, of course, anything's better than what the Giants have now, especially Saquon Barkley out in Philly. I mean, honestly, Saquon Barkley in Philly is like I said, I thought maybe Offensive Player of the Year. I didn't realize that Derrick Henry's going to do Derrick Henry things right now, and that's what he's doing. Unfortunately, I mean, so that Saquon Barkley Offensive Player of the Year is probably going out the window, but he's still having a great year. I did mention the New York Jets and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Interesting game now. Some storylines. Davante Adams is in New York now with Aaron Rodgers. Magically healed, by the way. Magically healed, as he will be playing in Pittsburgh against the Steelers. Rumors are, too, that, well, not rumors. It's been said that Russell Wilson has been taking first-team snaps, and they have not announced a starter for that. They've even rumored that potentially a two-quarterback system. You might see Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Never like that combination of two quarterbacks in a game. But, well, Cam, we don't know if the hamstring was ever hurt. That's the thing. We don't know. He was out for 2 weeks. I mean, maybe he had 2 weeks of good treatment. But the storyline is, what's the New York Jets offense going to look like the first week with Davante Adams? I think it's going to – I get it. The Pittsburgh Steelers, great defense. Morgan Moses came back for the Jets with the O-line, and they did look better against the Bills. Still allowed Aaron Rodgers to get hit, and I'm still thinking Aaron Rodgers will get hit a lot. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to get hit a lot, but I think he's going to be able to get the ball out quick enough to guys like Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson. We know the chemistry of Davante and Aaron Rodgers. They know each other. They probably have the best chemistry in football. Maybe with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow because they go back to college, but the fact that they play a lot longer together. Yeah, I mean, Nelson, that's going to be a big game. Your Steelers, I mean, can they spoil the debut? I'm leaning towards no. I mean, I think this is it's just too much magic to be. I think Davante wearing 1-7 in with green and white, it's going to be something different. It's going to bring a spark back to Aaron Rodgers. Davante Adams was playing good last year with the Raiders, so I know damn well he's going to play amazing with the New York Jets. I'm not saying they're going to go win the Super Bowl or make it to the AFC Championship or whatnot. They're definitely a playoff team. Nelson, I'd like to know what your thoughts are. Is it going to be Justin Fields or Russell Wilson, or is it going to be both? Because like Cam said, two quarterback system. What is this, college? I don't even like it in college, to be honest. I think that two quarterback system it's not the right thing, man. You don't get a true rhythm if you keep flip flopping and you keep rotating in and out. You're not getting that true games. That momentum's everything. And I just don't know what they're going to do. I don't know why they even why they've thought about taking Justin Fields out. I'm not saying Justin Fields is an all-pro worthy quarterback, but the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have offensive line issues. Justin Fields can move. He's mobile. Russell Wilson is not Russell Wilson of Seattle. He does not have that mobility like he used to back in the Pacific Northwest. I just don't like it that, yeah, and I agree they have a winning record. You're 4-2. Why are you switching it up? Justin Fields has got 10 total touchdowns and I think 2 interceptions. Why are you going to mix it up and decide to put Russell Wilson in? And like, I'm sorry, he's got 1 interception. He's got 10 total touchdowns between the ground and the air, 5 on each, and 1 interception. I just don't understand why you're doing it. And Russell was healthy last week, so why didn't he start? I mean, they beat the hell out of the Raiders. I mean, they're 4-2 now? 4-2. You're in first place in the AFC, tied for first place in the AFC North with the Ravens. Ravens somehow have the tiebreaker at the moment. It's only 6 weeks in, so that will pan itself out eventually. But I don't understand why they're deciding to go with potentially Russell Wilson. I just don't understand it. I want to see TJ Watt, though. I want to see how the Jets game plan for TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. I mean, TJ Watt is arguably the best defensive player in the NFL. And finally, someone to talk to tonight. Doc is joining us. Doc, how are you doing tonight, man?
Trying to load up this fucking computer. This shit was not having it tonight. My God.
I was going to say, yeah, we're welcome in. I was going to say, you're stress-free this weekend, no Bears. But Illinois plays Michigan. Florida State plays Duke. Frank, you did not miss the prediction. We do predictions at the end of the storylines. We will go through the games in a little bit. We were just talking, Frank, about the storylines of the Minnesota Vikings, the Detroit Lions. We're talking about which defense can hold the offense. Can the Vikings' spectacular defense control the ground and pound and clock management of the Detroit Lions between Doc's favorite running back, David Montgomery, my favorite running back, Jahmyr Gibbs? It's always an argument. That's an inside joke. But can they control the best running back duo in the NFL of the Detroit Lions, Doc? I mean, we
the
go back
Lions,
to that real quick.
listen, the Lions are fucked unless they find a way to get Max Crosby on this Raider dump, dude.
Hassan Reddick, too. They've been calling about him. I like it. I said it yesterday, a couple days ago.
But yeah, here's the difference. So the Lions, shout out to you, Cam. Appreciate the good words, my man. Good to be here as always. If I'm the Lions, all right, I'm not looking for a guy, and we've seen it before with guys that are out of the game, training, whatever, and not come back strong. I'm going for Max Crosby. Fuck Reddick. The Jets are going to be looking for something to make up in the bullshit that they've dealt with all year, even though that they've saved some money. But fuck Reddick. I look, if I'm the Lions, I don't want this headache on my team, dude. I don't want this distraction in my locker room. I need a guy coming hungry to play, hungry to be on a winning team. And when you talk to me about Hassan Reddick and Max Crosby, Crosby is the clear winner all day long.
I agree.
I would listen with Hutchinson gone, because first of all, Hutchinson gone, you get Max Crosby. You've now got an elite 2-man front on that 4. Like, the Lions will be unstoppable next year with this. There will be so much pressure on the court. The offensive line won't even know what to do. So when you talk about getting Max Crosby, and I don't know if he's on a contract year now, but if you talk about getting Max Crosby and you get him long term, this is going to be one of the most explosive defenses in the NFL, just because of what these two can the pressure they can put on a quarterback. Max Crosby is hands down the guy that I'm going for all day long. And honestly, because if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Reddick was also a distraction in Philly.
Not really. He wasn't a true distraction. He just wanted to get paid. He wanted to be in Philly. I mean, he loved it there. He just
that's what I'm saying. This is a problem that's been. This isn't a first time thing for Reddick. Like, hey, this guy just had a game and wanted to, like, you're in no position to bargain right now, my man.
And I agree with you too, Cam. He does. Crosby brings a lot of energy, and we keep forgetting Crosby is from Michigan. He's a Michigan man.
And that's why I'm saying that's why it would be so much more entertaining to have Crosby over Reddick. Fuck Reddick. Bring in Crosby. I'd give up a first for Crosby, because you honestly, you need it to save your team right now, because you ain't going to the playoffs with the defense you got otherwise.
Luke asked me in the Discord, and he was like, oh, you just went on your bandwagon team, because obviously I pull for the Lions a little bit because I like the storyline. But I was like, dude, I just want him out of the Raiders. I think he deserves to be somewhere else. I was like, I want him on my team. Put him on the Falcons. He's like, well, would you give up 2 first rounders? I was like, yeah, I would. I give up 2 first-rounders and a heartbeat for Max Crosby.
I'm going to be honest. It doesn't matter which way you look at it. The NFC North is the ideal landing spot for him because it goes out of the conference, and literally every team in this division could use him, and not just because the NFC North, is dominating right now and looking strong. I mean, the Packers need a guy in the front. The Lions definitely need a guy in the front now with Hutchinson gone. The Vikings could always do something to bolster this incredible defense that we've seen this year. And the Bears
for them.
And the Bears need somebody opposite of Sweat because I'm going to be honest, Taylor is not getting the job done in my opinion. I'm not saying that I'm disappointed with what he's doing, but you put him, I would give up a first round in Chicago for him because honestly, the only thing we need in Chicago is an offensive line, which we can get in the second, third round. I would give up first rounder for Max Crosby in Chicago because this elevates the defense to the next level and takes a lot of pressure off of Caleb Williams and the offense. And Cam, I got to say, listen, the goddamn hot dog vendor in the 300 level in Las Vegas is wasting his career by selling hot dogs for the Raiders. Okay.
I want to push back on Frank a little bit. Yeah, the Lions might be in the middle of the pack when it comes to yards. Actually, they're not. They're actually above the middle of the pack. They're towards the bottom of the pack, the pass defense. But they are one of the top teams when it comes to points allowed per game, just like the Vikings. So, they might give up yards, but they are a definition of bend but don't break. The Lions, they definitely hold the red zone pretty locked up. They actually force turnovers in the red zone too. So, I don't necessarily agree that if the Lions get rushing yards and they're on the field for about 35 minutes of the game, I don't know if the Vikings are going to be able to keep up the whole time because Sam Darnold could come back to earth against the Jets and the Lions.
He really did.
The Lions
pass against the Jets defense that has not been impressive this year.
We're going to see McNeil and DJ Reader and all these other guys what they can do. Boy. But Doc, I want to hear before we jump on to the big topic I've been trying to save one of the ones for last, but this one real quick. What do you think Saquon does? I already projected 200 scrimmage yards, 2 total touchdowns, at least the minimum for him.
I would love to say that this is a revenge game, especially because what he took to go to Philly over New York when when he made it clear he wanted to stay in New York, he took $250,000. That's these players guys like Saquon Barkley, they wiped their ass with $250,000. All right, so to see him take $250,000, it shows the frustration in New York and how willing he was to get out of it. I want to say Saquon goes off, but at the same time, Sirianni is a fucking joke and doesn't know how to run this team. When you talk about DeAndre Swift last year, and I can speak to this because my heart hurts with how I had him in fantasy. 1 touch in the first game, and Sirianni came out after that first game was like, I never see another situation where Barkley only gets, minimal touches in a game. And it literally was like every other game. It was nothing or everything. I mean, to have a guy like Barkley, especially when both of your top receivers are out, 1 and 2 are out, and to not feed the beast, not let the man break loose and do what he does, it is clear to me, and you see it by the struggles of Philly this year, it's clear to me that Philadelphia does not know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know how to run this organization and utilize the pieces that they have. Sirianni is a joke and has to go.
And Alan, I mean, maybe if the Eagles would have beat my Falcons, I'd take this flag down. But Philly's 4-2 and in second place in the division. Atlanta's 4-2 in first place in the division. So how about you put some respect on the actual Birds that actually won this year?
Hey, listen, you can't listen. I see what you're saying, Mark, but you can't talk shit on the fact you're in a weaker division. All right, come on.
Actually, I mean, both divisions really aren't that good. The Cowboys got blown out by the Saints. The third place team beat their third place team, and the Panthers and Giants.
I'm not saying the division is extremely superior to yours, but when you're both 4-2, you can't really talk shit on you're in first place and they're in second.
This?
I mean, you're both 4-2.
How about this? We beat them. They're in the NFC East. We're in the NFC South. We beat them. Yeah. We played the rest of the NFC East. We're going to beat the Giants. We're going to beat the Cowboys. And the Commanders will give us a hard time. We're going to beat the hell out of Dallas. So I'm not worried about the Cowboys at this moment.
Dude, honestly, I want to see Dallas crash and burn to less than 6 wins this year. I'd love to fucking see it.
This right here,
Nelson, what are you talking about? The mailman from McGuire Post Office.
That guy right there that makes the comment. He was the mailman at the post office in McGuire Force Base.
Elaine?
Yeah. Didn't know that until he said that.
Elaine, so, I'm not gonna say my comments out loud. I got a story for you about that after the show.
We're gonna move the topic though. We got that. Yeah, Cam, that'd be fun. Ashton Jenny to Dallas. A lot of people projecting that. But the Chiefs and the Niners, a Super Bowl rematch of last year. And before we talk this game, I want to give a little gripe, Doc, to the NFL Fox, right, on Facebook. They made a post. It said that the Kansas City Chiefs have beaten the 49ers 4 out of the last 5 times. You know, when normally that happens, they say it's like, okay, the Chiefs have won like the last 2, and then maybe the Niners snuck.
You know what I mean? Yeah, the middle game.
So was just what they said. So they played each other in 2018, in the Super Bowl in 2019 season, sometime in the early 2020s. I think that was the game. It was like Jimmy G and all them, and then the Super Bowl last year. Mahomes is 4-0 against the goddamn Kansas or San Francisco 49ers. They beat the last time they beat the Chiefs was 2014. Mahomes wasn't even alive. Can you just say that Mahomes has never lost to the Niners and just move on? Why the fuck are we making it like? Why are we giving the Niners some props when it happened 10 years ago? You know what I mean? But Doc, this is a big game, and what will it take for the 49ers to get a home win here, where they are the favorite, by the way? What will it take to stop Kansas City? Andy Reid off a bye week, who's usually phenomenal.
I'm going to be honest. I mean, and to talk about your comment, and by the way, I want to say something to Elaine. I wasn't, when I said that I had a story from Mark later, not about you. I don't know you. But anyways, it's really funny that they said, like, literally, this is, the Niners are 4-0 in the Mahomes era, or 4-4 in the last 4. Why even add that one? Is it Chiefs like the 4 games prior to that too? You just want to say 8 out of 9 and make it sound too bad? I don't understand what they're trying to accomplish here, but
you say my Mahomes opinion, 4-0 against the Niners. All you gotta say, Mahomes 4-0 against the Niners. Just leave it at that.
In my opinion, I mean, if I'm talking like, what is it going to take for the Niners to win? I mean, the bus probably got to break down somewhere in Utah, or the whole team comes down with COVID. Sunday morning. I mean, that's really what it's going to take. Listen, this Niners team has probably been one of the most disappointing stories of all year. I mean, we knew Dallas was going to have struggles with the lack of offseason movement, the injuries, losing key pieces last year and not replacing. But the Niners were a team that were supposed to come in and dominate and have been just, I mean, Ayuk, I didn't even know Ayuk was still in the league until last week.
God, I mean, neither.
You know what I mean? Even with the deal. Kittle is the only consistent on this team. I'd like to say Mason is consistent.
That's Samuel.
Yeah, and I'd like to say Mason, but honestly, they're handcuffing Mason. Take the goddamn training wheels off and let the man go to work.
Well, he's questionable, too, with that AC joint sprain or whatever it was. So,
well, the other part of me says he needs to calm down because I got CMC in Dynasty, and I need him to come back strong and not have a two-back committee.
Jake's saying a couple weeks out is what it sounds like for CMC. I don't know, Doc. This
yeah, defense... I know. Jake got the same notification I did about early November. All right,
I don't know about the Niners, Cam. I mean, like I said, I would bench them because this is the best defense that the Niners have faced. The Chiefs are an amazing, outstanding defense. Steve Spags has got this team rolling the last few years. Chris Jones, he might cause chaos up there in the front. I mean, McDuffie. McDuffie is proven he's not just a slot corner. He can play on the outside with the big boys too. I mean, you have this team playing inspired football. They are 5-0. And Andy Reid is back in his Philly days. He gets the boys playing after bye weeks. He gets them refocused, re-energized a little early bye week for the Chiefs. So we'll see now how they do long term. But I think that the Chiefs are set up to win this game, man. Just feed Kareem Hunt. Let Kareem Hunt be the toe belt or the fucking heavy guy that gets the ball moving. He looked pretty decent last game against the New Orleans Saints. Let him pound the rock. Keep Nick Bosa in the pass rush away for Patrick Mahomes. And then when that run game does go, now you have the hard play action. And then you get Mahomes to open up to Juju, who returns to action. Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, who's coming back to his own self. So let Kareem Hunt be the guy that gets the rock, sets up the pass, and you win the game.
But let's take it easy on Kelce. He had one good game.
2 good games.
I'm not 1.5. I'll concede on 1.5. Especially because last week he was really a dominant threat in the first half, and that was it.
Chargers came back alive a little bit when Reishi went out.
I mean, the glimmer of hope for KC, though, is the fact that Juju looked like year 2 in Pittsburgh Juju. You know what I mean? He looked like prime time. And
sorry, not you. I disagree with Nelson. The Chiefs will go 9-0, and the first loss will be the Buffalo Bills. They always lose to the Bills in the regular season.
That's true. That's true. They lose in the regular season, win in the playoffs. That is standard in the NFL. The script is out. All right. Did you not get a copy of the script, Nelson? Did you? Look, we can send it to you, man. We can send it to you. Don't worry about it.
Especially by that time that Amari Cooper will have a few weeks with the Bills. So that's another thing, too. It won't just be Josh Allen. Sorry, I didn't mean cut you off. Talk about
that, but no, I mean, and Patrick Mahomes has shown what he can do, and the Niners, as much as I like the Niners and I want them to be successful, it's just been too rocky, too inconsistent this year. You don't know which Niners team you're going to get. And this is where we start talking about, like, Shanahan's going to get on the hot seat, man. You have all of the same weapons that you did last year. And I get it. CMC's out, but Mason has been stepping up. He hasn't been disappointing. So you've got the weapons. Like, where is the misfire? Where are we not connecting on being able to win these games? I get it. Sam Darnold's going off in Minnesota. Minnesota's having a hell of a year. But that is a game that the Niners should have won. You guys lost it last year in embarrassing fashion. I don't think this Minnesota team is, like, tremendously better than last year just because Darnold's playing better. A few good games. And like you said, Darnold came back to earth last week. Darnold is not an elite quarterback. Darnold is going to come back. Look, Dobbs started out in the stratosphere, and he came back to earth real quick. Darnold's going to do the same shit. All right, it's going to happen. There's a lot of surprises on this Minnesota team. Niners still should have won that game. If they couldn't handle Minnesota, if they couldn't handle really not much else convincingly this year, I don't think they've got the Chiefs in the bag.
And Nelson, I disagree with you there. The script has been back and forth with the Bengals. The problem is the Bengals don't play defense. The Bills actually do play defense, besides against the Ravens. They actually do play pretty good defense. It helps CJ Stroud and them in check. But, Doc, last topic before we jump into the predictions. Hey, Monday night's going to be all eyes on this. It's going to be Luke's bandwagon team, by the way, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He can say what he wants to. He's a bandwagon Bucs fan. But his team, the Baltimore Ravens, traveling to Raymond James. Lamar versus Baker, the battle of the number 32 quarterback in the 2018 draft and the number 1 quarterback in the 2018 draft. So what will it take for Tampa Bay to stop Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry? Is it stop the run and force Lamar? Because and we said it last night, Doc, and I know how your strong feelings about Lamar, but Lamar this year honestly has looked impressive at throwing the ball. Now, the run game is setting everything up because you have to focus so much on Derrick Henry, so you have more one-on-one looks with Zay Flowers and everyone, but he is delivering a good ball this year so far through 6 weeks. No,
he's definitely looking a lot better this year. A lot of his shortfalls, and his is loosely used. A lot of shortfalls this year have been on the the pass catchers. Yes. I don't want to say receivers because we want to include the tight ends. Mark Andrews. I don't know what this dude is putting on his gloves. I don't know if he's just putting bricks under his gloves or what he's doing. This guy couldn't catch a fucking cold in January. Okay. I don't know what this guy's doing. Shut him down. And even Likely has had moments of question. But at the end of the day, Lamar is definitely looking better. Nice to see Zay Flowers finally getting utilized as a wide receiver 1 last week. Something I've been screaming for since he got drafted. Even when they had Odell Beckham. I've been a fan of Odell Beckham in a very long time. And to see the forced targets, over Zay Flowers and the run-first mentality with Lamar, use the weapons you have. And he finally is showing that he can do that. I'm excited. I don't want to hate Lamar. I don't want to hate him. The guy has just been dog shit. But this year he's been a lot better. And if he continues to get better, I'll get on the bandwagon with him. But I got to see it.
This is the year where, as of right now, I know there's a couple of names that could be MVP. Him being in MVP talks this year, I respect that. because this is the year where he's looking like an MVP. Kind of like his first year he won MVP. The first year he won in 2019, rightfully deserved it. I mean, that year he deserved it.
He got it last year strictly because the Ravens got first place. That's it.
And because another quarterback stood out.
No, bullshit. Dak stood out. Don't tell me another quarterback didn't stand out. Dak stood out. Dak actually led more offensive categories that mattered to a quarterback. Lamar got it because of the run game and because his team got first place. More because his team got first place.
The big moments too. That's what it was.
The Niners game last year was a big deal. But for me, what's it going to take? I don't think the Bucs can shut down the run game, because when you talk about a two-way player like Lamar and Derrick Henry in the backfield, one does not simply shut down the Baltimore Ravens run game, okay? For me, what it's going to come down to is the Bucs have to take advantage of this defense that has really been looking like the Dallas Cowboys, in my opinion. The run defenses look good at times, but for the most part, and the Bucs have a shit run game, in my opinion. Bucky Irving's been looking pretty good, but Rachaad White has been a disappointment on all fronts.
I don't think White's playing either.
If the Bucs are smart and want to win this game, they will sit his ass on the fourth string. They'll strap a fucking Coke dispenser around his neck and put him in the stands to sell something, because this guy hasn't done a goddamn thing all year. But it's going to come down, because you can't stop the run game. The defense got to be there in the pass game, which we know is not going to happen. For the Bucs to win this game, they've got to stand up with the offense. They've got to answer back. They've got to keep going pound for pound. Baker's got to come out and not try to do too much. Use Bucky while you can. Use him where you can. He's been a much brighter star than Rachaad White, in my opinion. So there is some hope in the run game, but he's got to answer back and keep this game close. And it's up to him to keep the Bucs in the fight, but without doing too much like he did back when he was in Cleveland and trying to force stuff. Let your game play the way you've been doing it since you've been in Tampa. Let the natural Baker come out. Do what you've been doing. You'll be just fine.
And VR Nelson, it's not Buck. First off, you're putting slander on the Bucks. You're spelling it like the Milwaukee Bucks. It's just a C. There's no
it's
K.
just a C. Come
but
on.
We're not
Nelson,
giving them slander. We actually think the Bucks are a good team. This isn't like Baker's playing good. Chris Godwin looks like one of the best receivers in football this year. Evans has got his kind of roller coaster year at the moment. I still respect Mike Evans, one of the best I've seen play. But their defense, can they stop Derrick Henry? That's the thing. At least can you limit Derrick Henry? Can you just limit him?
Let me talk about the Bucs slander real quick. Let me talk about the Milwaukee slander real quick, okay? Because you think I'm disrespecting the Bucs. I'm not telling you nothing you don't know already, okay? Kirk Cousins was averaging about 45 yards passing coming into that game against the Bucs and put up over 500 yards against the Bucs. You tell me how a 12th string receiver in Atlanta splits. I swear you could have put a 12th defender on the field in Atlanta and they still wouldn't have stopped it. All right. You tell me how he split those 5 defenders in Atlanta and none of them could put the stop on. I don't even remember the motherfucker's name right now. That's how irrelevant he is.
Cardell Hodge.
Hodge. That's right. Hodge.
He's been there a couple years in Atlanta.
No, I know. I'm over exaggerating, but you are not going to tell me that this Bucs defense is elite after giving up 500 yards to Kirk Cousins at a time. I'm telling you, the dude was averaging like 60 yards a game. And I don't mean any disrespect by that, Mark, and you can speak to it. The offense was questionable, and you and I talked about there was a lot of question mark with Kirk Cousins, and he showed out. He showed what he could do. So now we need to see that consistency from him and the Falcons. But we need the Bucs to come. It's been stepping up.
Getting better.
Well, Drake London finally looking like a receiver.
Hey, yeah. And by the way, I'm waiting for the apology. I guess we're gonna wait to the end of the season. I'm waiting for the apology from every single one of you guys. And on the show, I don't think it was necessarily Chris, but all the Drake London slander. He can't be a number one. He can't be a good guy in fantasy.
I didn't say he couldn't be a number one, Mark. I said he couldn't be a number 3.
I know Alan and Jake definitely were high. Alan definitely was high on that. That Drake London couldn't be one. I said the guy put up number 2 stats with trash quarterbacks. Give him I'm not saying Kirk Cousins is great. I heard it. Kirk Cousins is great. I'm sorry, he's not great, but Kirk Cousins is a guy that can sling the ball to his receiver. That's the thing. So he's going to give Drake London the opportunities. And Darnell Mooney, looks like a top 10 receiver this year too, based on stats. Not saying he is, but
Oh, buddy.
you know what I mean?
Except for last week, me loving some Darnell Mooney on my fantasy team. Emily,
It
you need to calm down. Emily,
was a rushing game
Yeah,
last
relax.
week. But Doc, are you ready?
Cam, well, real quick, Cam, you nailed it, man. Right at the middle of the field too, and that was what was so disappointing. Is not only was it not a sideline thing where you dove missed a tackle, you're talking right at the field where they were coming at 5 different angles on this motherfucker. Couldn't make it happen. An absolute embarrassment in terms of the Buccaneers defense, and I don't think that's usual. But they've got to come back. They've got to do better. It's got to be better than that. God damn! Who that in first place? In both? Whew. Yo, these standings looking scripted right now. These standings looking scripted right now, my boys.
Are they?
I won it both weeks, or both sides, dude. I think I won last week too, didn't I?
Yeah, you've been on a pretty good tear here, Doc.
No,
I just want to.
No, I'm not on a tear. I'm on knowledge, brother. I'm on knowledge.
Are you on knowledge there, Doc? I mean, so yeah, as you can see,
hey, Mark, who's in first place in the pick'ems this year? Not even the show. In our regular pick'ems, who's in first place?
You are. It's you and Jones, I believe, right?
Yes, sir.
But too bad you didn't decide to do the.
No, I did. I told you. I owe you 4 weeks of college weeklies. God damn it!
As you can see, right here.
Let me settle this shit. Hang on, Mark. Hang on, goddamn.
No,
I'm gonna settle this shit right now, Mark.
I'll send it right back because it's too late.
Nope. It's not. This is my last 4 weeks.
Nope. So as you can see, though, there are predictions right here. Week 6 of this the week 6 records. Doc had a crazy week. 13
Doc had a usual week.
Oh, 1 loss is still. Doc, you will be getting.
That is pretty crazy, though.
What do you mean last 4 weeks pick'ems? You paying for the next 4 weeks?
No, I owe you. That's my 20. I owe you for the last 4. I didn't pay the last 4 weeks of pick'ems.
No. Yeah, I'll return that. But
No,
Alan went 11. Alan, myself, Chris, and Jake all went 11-3, and Luke went 10-4. So it was a good week for everyone. Everyone had a good winning record against the spread. Doc, you took it 11-3. Myself and Jake 10-4, and then the bottom 3 right there, Alan, Luke, and Chris 8-6. And on the year, hey, since week 1, after week 1, everyone has a winning record. It's the first time since the week 1 season. Doc, you're leading Jake by 3 at 63-29. Jake at 60-32. I'm 6 back. I got to start getting some games back here. We still have some time, but myself and Luke just kind of hanging around. Alan's kind of hanging around too. Chris is kind of back. But against the spread, me, Chris, and Luke, not looking too hot. Chris definitely not looking too hot. Hoping to be at 500 this year. But you and Jake are right there neck and neck for against the spread.
You've been battling all year, dude.
Yeah, but it's just me and you tonight. Obviously, we'll have everyone's names on there. And we are going to move into –
Funny thing is now that I talked all this shit, I'm going to go like 0-14 this week.
Yeah, right. Let's move into Thursday night football as it's the Sean Payton game. Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos heading to the New Orleans Saints reunion for Sean Payton as they are 2.5-point favorites, Doc. The Broncos are 3-3. The Saints, I believe, are 3-3 as well. I for some reason forgot their record. That's how bad they were playing. Matter. They are 2-4. I'm sorry, 4-game losing streaks. Doc, I'm going to ride with the Broncos here, even if Surtain's not playing. I could care less. I think the Broncos are just a better team. Too many injuries for the Saints. Spencer Rattler's playing, so all eyes will be on the rookie quarterback from South Carolina and formerly Oklahoma. But just too much defense, and I think the offense is going to actually do really good. I think Bo's going to eat because the Saints have the worst defense in football. Give me the Broncos to cover this.
Yeah, Cam, I'm right there with you. This wasn't a Thursday game. I'm definitely not betting on this one. Actually, I might just take everybody for the under, if I can be real with you. Right. I might take under 14.5 points for the total score. This game's going to be an absolute snooze fest. This might be, if this were like a Sunday afternoon game, this would make it real easy for me to take a nap and catch up on some sleep. But while we're on the Saints and Chris's team, I want to give a shout out to Chris. Actually doing well in pick'ems last week, or in the show pick'ems, anyways. Nice to see. A lot of questionable decisions, but he had a pretty good record. So, but no, I'm right there with you, Mark. I mean, Surtain being out is far less than the entire offense being out or questionable in New Orleans. Olave's out, Carr's out. AK, I don't know what his report was today. I haven't had a chance to look at it. It's been a very long day, but I know he's questionable. So, give me. I mean, and Bo Nix has been looking promising. Last week was a little rough, but he's been looking promising. Give me the Broncos to cover.
All right, moving on to the London game. I could care less. The Jaguars and the Bears, or sorry, the Jaguars and Patriots. Jaguars 5.5-point favorites. I'm going to go Jaguars, cover the spread. They win here. They save Doug Peterson's job for one more week. That's all I got to say.
I think the Jags do pull this off. I don't know if it does save Doug Peterson's job. I think that even coming back from London, because I don't know if the Jags were expected to beat the Bears, but it was expected to be a hell of a lot closer than it was. And there's a lot of issues going on in Jacksonville, a lot of miscommunications, misplays. Just people, literally the entire team is doing everything wrong. They look like the Pee Wee Giants, if you've ever seen that movie, Little Giants, way back in the 90s. This team is an absolute embarrassment, and it's led by none other than Dougie Peterson, who has had one successful season in his career when he got the Super Bowl with the Eagles. This guy's a joke. He's a smoke show. He's not a two. All right.
I give him the Jaguars first year with him because he actually turned the Urban Meyer year around somehow.
It wasn't hard to do when you got a cancer like that leaving the locker room. But this one's easy. Jags covering. It's the Patriots. And don't get me wrong, I'm not taking the Jags covering because of the Jags skill. I'm taking it because it's the Patriots. Big difference.
Yeah, and Nelson, we said it. I said Doc before Doc got on. I would honestly would prefer the Giants Eagles because of the Saquon Barkley matchup. But let's move on here to
Wait, you talking to
Atlanta.
Josh?
No, I was talking to Nelson because he said horrible Thursday night football matchup. Moving on to the first.
To be fair, that's a typical Thursday night matchup that we get from Amazon. Amazon been on a streak this year. I don't know what the fuck happened. I don't know who they paid to get primetime games like that. But Amazon normally got some dog shit on Thursday night. Yep. And it's nice to go back to their roots.
Pretty good this year. But moving on to the first slate of Sunday afternoon games, the Seattle Seahawks traveling across the country to Atlanta, which these two teams normally face off. That's normally a pretty good game, as the Falcons are 4-2. The Seahawks are on 3-game losing streak, so they're reeling. They need this game. The Falcons are 2.5-point favorites. Doc, I'm riding with my boys. I just think that the offense is clicking. I get the Seahawks defense I don't know. The defense didn't look too hot against the Niners. Our offense, our rushing game last week got going with Bijan and Tyler Algier, over 200 yards rushing total for everyone that did rush the ball. Like you mentioned, Drake London is playing good. Darnell Mooney, besides last week's been playing pretty good. Kyle Pitts has been getting involved. Give me my birds, the Dirty Birds, not the Seagulls. Give me the Dirty Birds to win this game and cover.
Yeah, I'm riding with the Falcons as well, mostly because the Seahawks are a lot more inconsistent. We don't know what Geno Smith we're going to get. There was a lot of issues last week with Geno. I think this game, though, is contingent on the Falcons continuing to get that run game going. You've got to utilize Bijan. You got to utilize Algier, but you got to get Bijan more involved. This guy's an absolute monster out of the backfield. You've got to open up the passing game for Kirk Cousins. Don't put all the pressure on him. You can't expect him to throw 500 yards and win every single week. Especially because without that run game, you're moving the ball too quickly. You've got to keep the ball. You've got to keep the clock going in your favor. Get a little more ball control because Geno Smith can strike. If the right Geno Smith shows up this week, he can make some moves and keep this offense going head-to-head with the Falcons. I do have the Falcons covering, but like Josh said, I think it's going to be by a field goal or not much more. Definitely less than a touchdown, but I do have them covering the spread.
Yeah, VR, I don't believe it. But yeah, Josh, I mean, I can see it being a close game. I'm a little nervous because DK had a bad game to his standards last week, so it could be a DK Metcalf game.
DK's in his own head, dude.
Well, there's a lot to Geno too. But moving on to personally my favorite game of the week has nothing to do with my team. If you're just talking about any team outside Atlanta, the Houston Texans with CJ Stroud going to Green Bay to face Jordan Love in the Battle of Lambeau Field. I was going to pick the Packers, but for some reason I'm riding with CJ Stroud here. I think the defense is going to get to Love. I think that CJ Stroud is going to have an amazing game. This is going to be a good game for him with Stephon Diggs, with Joe Mixon, with Tank Dell. Give me the Road Warriors of the Houston Texans getting an upset win in Lambeau Field.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. The Texans have been nothing but impressive this year. I'm I mean, handled the Patriots like they expected to come out and play. The defense held the Bills in checks. I know I had a lot of question marks. I know I said a lot of shit about the Texans defense coming into the season, but seeing what they could do against the Bills. I know they got blown out by the Vikings, but that was in like the Vikings prime time. I feel like Darnold was starting to come back down to earth, so I don't think this defense is gonna perform the same. I've got the Texans upsetting the Packers this week as well.
It's hard, Cam, because
I agree, Josh.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say, Cam, because the full arsenal is there for the Packers. They all three got involved last week with Romeo Doubs, Watson, and Jaden Reed. But Reed's going to get a lot of gadget plays, a lot of looks. So it's not a bad play to play him, obviously.
And Cam nailed it right on the head. Need Joe Mixon to get involved and heavy. Josh, I agree. Fuck the Packers. Can we get a bear down in the chat? Can I get one bear down in the chat?
If you give him a bear down, if he gives you a bear down, you gotta give him a hooday. He's a Bengals fan.
I'll give him a fucking hooday. They ain't my division.
Right.
Fuck the Packers.
Doc, I'm making this one simple. It's the Buffalo Bills hosting the Tennessee Titans, 8.5-point favorites for the Bills. Bills win, they cover the spread. I could care less about this game. Josh Allen goes off.
Yeah, this one's
not sure for Mark Cooper plays, by the way.
Even with a fresh Amari Cooper doesn't know the playbook, you don't even need him. Malik Willis is going to be the best quarterback on the Bills this week, passing to all of their secondary. Easy money. Bills covering.
Yeah, okay. Easy move.
We'll love it. Dog shit.
Battle of Ohio, where the Bengals are 5.5-point favorites against the Cleveland Browns. A fun fact, Joe Burrow is 1-5 in his career against the Cleveland Browns. Even when the Browns, before they got when they've had their up and down years in the early 2020s, he's lost a lot of games. But I don't care. This is not the same Browns team. The defense is shredded. The offense for the Bengals is clicking. Jamar Chase, Jeff Jefferson, T. Higgins, they're going to eat. Give me the Bengals to cover the spread. Joe Burrow and them get to 3-4. They're saving their season. They're slowly getting back to wild card potential. Give me the Bengals to cover.
Yeah, I'm gonna lead this one off by saying I'm really disappointed. Nobody gave me a bear down. Super disappointed by that. This Bengals defense has been Swiss cheese out here, but honestly, even the Bengals defense couldn't make Deshaun Watson look good. I want to see Njoku go off, especially now that Amari Cooper is gone, but Amari Cooper wasn't utilized, so I don't know why I think that Njoku would be utilized. He has been the most disappointing, not disappointing on his part, but the most underutilized, disappointing story as far as tight ends go. Njoku is an absolute monster and gets no respect in this Browns organization. Deshaun Watson needs to go back to the massage parlor and stay off the football field. Give me the Bengals covering.
I also can't wait to see Nick Chubb play this week. Only thing I'm rooting for the Cleveland Browns is Nick Chubb. Hopefully, you have a good game, buddy. Show me some potential there for my fantasy team. Moving on to a boring game with the Miami Dolphins and the Indianapolis Colts. Colts 2.5-point favorites. It looks like Anthony Richardson's playing. I don't care. Give me the Colts to win by at least 3.
This hurts me more than any prediction I've ever made. God, I wish Tua was playing in this game because Anthony Richardson. If the Colts lose this game, it will be single-handedly because of Anthony Richardson. I don't care if the quarterback, whatever coin they flip and decide who's going to come out here. It will be because of Anthony Richardson. He's trash. That's why it pains me to say this, but the Colts will cover the spread.
Yes, Cam.
The Dolphins are just broken.
Yes, Cam. Start T. Higgins and start Jaden Reed over Brandon Ayuk. That's my opinion. Moving on to an exciting game. We've talked about this a couple times tonight already. The
Purdy.
Detroit Lions.
I'd take Purdy all day long. AR is averaging like 165 yards in his career game.
Start AR. Purdy's playing against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
AR's gonna maybe at least rush the ball.
See, that's how biased. That's how dog shit AR is. I'm that biased against him.
But
honestly,
Detroit
you're fucked either way.
NFC North.
Pick up somebody off the waiver wire. That's what you need to do. Sorry,
do that. If you have any waiver guys, that's actually a good thing to say. Doc, any waiver guys, maybe pick them up for the week.
Get anybody else.
Motor City, Detroit Lions, Skull, Minnesota Vikings. First place is on the line here. Doc, I'm gonna let you go first. I'll save mine for. I'll let you go first here.
Yeah, this is the game of the week. Simply because the Bears aren't playing. Did I tell you Lions? I thought I took thought I took the Vikings.
Oh, nope. You did. You have Vikings. I'm sorry. I moved it. I
I was
too
going to
quick.
say,
No,
I'm pretty sure I took the Vikings simply because Hutchinson is out, and I think it's going to drastically affect the secondary that has looked better than I think it should because of what Aiden Hutchinson, the pressure he's been able to put on the quarterback, but with him being out. Now, if they can swing a deal and pull Max Crosby, I will be calling Mark to change that pick, whether or not it's allowed, because I think that's a fair move, and I think everybody should be able to readjust that pick. But if the Lions stand as is, I'm taking the Vikings with the defense they're going to be facing, especially at home. I think Darnold might rebound and go back to pre-last week Darnold. The weapons, honestly, the run game has looked good. Aaron Jones has looked amazing. I know he's out this week. Cam Akers is back, but I think – is he out?
Jones, he's questionable. He's not – it hasn't been ruled out yet.
I mean – we're talking about him missing possibly 2 weeks.
If
he plays, no doubter for me that it's Minnesota. Between Jefferson and Addison and the secondary, and having Naylor as a third option, who has shown that he can go off and make moves. Darnold, literally, this is a situation like we talked about with the Bears. This is a receiving core that you really can't screw up with. Like, there's no way to not find success here. And if Aaron Jones does play the success he's had, otherwise, I mean, this Vikings team and the defense has been phenomenal. I think it's enough to shut down the Lions. I'm taking the Vikings covering the spread.
Aaron Jones is hopeful practice tomorrow. Remember, he's coming off a bye week, so he's had an extra week to practice. But, Doc, I mean, everyone that watches this show, everyone that's in the show, everyone that knows me, JT, I'm not sure if he's playing. I can tell you right now, actually, just based on
I think he might be looking good because I know he was like a game time decision last week.
No, he's playing. There's no
which
injury.
It tells me he should be good to go. No, he's questionable.
Sleepers off the game.
Oh, he didn't practice Wednesday. He didn't practice today.
But back to this game, everyone that knows me, everyone that watches this show, they know how much I believe in Dan Campbell, how much I believe in Ben Johnson to call the plays for Jared Goff, how much I believe in Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, St. Brown, Laporta, Iowa Farm Boy. I trust the Detroit Lions with and without Aiden Hutchinson. It's going to be a lot harder, obviously, but I trust the Detroit Lions. Give me Motor City, Dan Campbell, and the boys. Upset win. They take first place. Give me the Lions.
If this was in Motor City, I might be able to agree with you. And be careful with needing Gibbs, man, because who did all the points go to last week, Mark?
He had a better game. I mean, the Lions last
week. He got 2 scores. That was the big thing. He got 2 scores. He got 2 of the touchdowns.
No, he 2 scores. I mean, it was one of those games, too. The Lions could have made – they were just trying anything. I mean, and it worked. They obviously – according to Micah Parsons, was being very petty because the way they were calling plays. But
yeah, Micah Parsons got room to talk. It ain't like that Cowboys defense looked strong before that.
Yeah, right.
Sit down, Micah.
Moving on to the game where I think should be Thursday Night Football. The Philadelphia Eagles.
They should make a least improved player award, and they should hand that bitch to Micah Parsons outright and be like, "This is yours for the next 5 years. Doesn't matter what you do. This season was so bad. You have this default, like all century." Least improved player team.
Yeah, he's been pretty bad. The Eagles, though, the Giants, Doc, I've already said it. Saquon Barkley's eating. He's torturing this team. Eagles win. They cover the 2.5-point spread.
Yeah, this one's easy for me. I mean, A.J. Brown's back. I believe Devontae Smith is back as well. The Eagles are finally whole. This defense on paper is one of the top in the league, in my opinion. Especially, is Neighbors still supposed to be out? Or is he questionable, or what's going on?
He's questionable.
Yeah, especially if Neighbors is out. This won't even be close. This will be a blowout. I got Eagles covering easy. Chris, sorry, man. We'll see you in the loss column for the ATS next week.
Yeah. This is a boring game to me because I don't know which Rams I'm going to get. The Raiders are obviously a mess. Rams are 6.5-point favorites. There's a lot of injuries and question marks. That's the ones why I have the Raiders covering the spread because I just don't know which Rams players are going to play. I have the Rams winning. It's an unknown with the Raiders or the Rams question marks. And it's just a Raiders home game. It's going to be a lot of black and silver there. So that might maybe affect the crowd or the team a little bit in Los Angeles. But give me the Rams to win, but they don't cover the spread.
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams covering. Cooper Kupp is trending like he's going to be back on Sunday, which is going to be a huge uplift for this Rams offense. Raiders offense, on the other hand, is looking like a broken dream, shattered glass. Devontae Adams is gone. Jacoby Myers questionable. Max Crosby could even be gone before kickoff.
They got Brock Bowers.
Yeah,
That's about it.
That's the problem. And that's the problem.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, when you can't even say you got a quarterback to throw to Brock Bowers, I mean, Rams covering. I don't think it's an easy choice. I definitely have to deliberate on this, but I think the missing pieces, especially in the receiving core, Trey Tucker's not going to get it all done. Aiden O'Connell, I think the starts last season, Gardner Minshew coming and taking over. There's so much wrong with this organization. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Max Crosby gets benched because the first 7 plays, the ball snaps and he just stands up and walks towards the quarterback. Because I'd be broken and defeated, and that's how I'd feel too. Give me the Rams covering.
Commanders, Panthers in Landover, Maryland, just outside the nation's capital. I'm going to go Jaden Daniels going on a show. He's going to light up the scoreboard, drop at least 25 to 30 fantasy points. They cover the 7.5 point spread. Give me the Commanders.
This might be my quickest recap in history. All I'm going to say is the Carolina dumpster fires. Give me the Commanders covering. It doesn't need an explanation.
Super Bowl rematch time. The Kansas City Chiefs. Doc, I messed yours up. No, I got it right. Sorry, the Kansas City Chiefs,
You got it right.
San Francisco 49ers in Santa Clara, California. Mahomes is 4-0 against the Chiefs. He goes to 5-0 this week. I said Kareem Hunt's going to have a game. It's going to set up Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, and Juju Smith. And whoever else decides, maybe Noah Gray as well, whoever else Mahomes decides to throw to. The defense is going to contain this good offense for the Niners. But like I said, too much Mahomes, too much Kareem Hunt, too much defense from the Kansas City Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs. Road underdogs next week. Give me Kansas City.
Yeah, this one's easy for me as well. I'm looking up something real quick because I know Mason got hurt last week. So I know he's questionable. If he's out,
day-to-day.
Yeah, I got to be honest. The Niners are looking like, sorry, Jake, but the Niners are looking like the Walking Dead out here. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Shanahan is clearly in over his head. And the Chiefs have found ways to win harder games with less. The way Juju Smith showed out last week, Xavier Worthy's potential, if Travis Kelce continues to climb back to the Travis Kelce that we know, Kareem Hunt is a monster. He's a good back. He played tremendously in Kansas City or in Cleveland as a backup to Nick Chubb. When he did come in, when I've had Nick Chubb in fantasy teams, there was always the worry about whenever you see Kareem Hunt come on the field because he can't explode and break away. This one's a no-brainer. The Chiefs are going to win this game.
Yep. Sunday Night Football, Devontae Adams' debut. He is magically healed as the New York Jets are going to the Steel City to face the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm sorry. It's just the offense is going to look better. I get it. The Steelers' defense is good. They're going to hit Rodgers still, but Rodgers is going to get the ball out too quick to take the sacks, to maybe the forced fumbles. Devontae Adams is that security blanket for the New York Jets now. Get it? You got Garrett Wilson, Al Lazard, who Aaron Rodgers loves. But Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, the magic is there. They look happy. The comeback to the playoffs start here. Not saying they win the division, but the comeback to get to 10 wins starts now. Jets, Jets. Cover the spread.
Yeah. Listen, I don't care how much Aaron Rodgers loves Alan Lazard. Devontae Adams is here. Lazard ain't even a pimple on his ass. You know what I'm saying? Lazard is dead to him. Honestly,
Mike Williams is dead. Lazard still going to get some looks, but
Mike Williams has been dead for 2 years. Okay, Mike Williams wasn't shit last year. He ain't shit this year. There's a reason why he is the third the third wide receiver in New York. Another one's pretty easy. Devontae Adams is here. I don't think this elevates the Jets to a playoff contention team. They might make the playoffs. I think they get blown out in the first week unless some crazy chemistry comes together now that Sal's gone and Devontae Adams has come and really kind of feeds that script that we were talking about previously. But the offense obviously got a huge weapon. And I think that it's going to outplay the Steelers' defense. And I think the Jets' defense is finally going to look like a defense against the Steelers. Not that it's hard to do with the lack of weapons that they have with, quoting Chris here, the fat Eddie Lacy, because I still love that comparison. The lack of receivers they have. I mean, the tight ends don't get involved the way that they should. Justin Fields, all you got to do is contain Justin Fields. You'll win this game.
Well, it might be Russell. It might be Wilson. He's taking first-team reps. They've even mentioned running 2-quarterback system. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you right now, if Russell's even steps between the hashes, it's going to be a blowout for the Jets. Give me. If that's the case, give me the Jets by 25.
Moving on to the first of 2 Monday night games. The better Monday night game, too. The Baltimore Ravens in first place, tied for first place, going to Tampa Bay to face tied for first place in their division, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Both teams at 4-2. Doc, I'm riding with Luke and Chris here. I believe that too much Lamar Jackson, too much Derrick Henry, and I believe that the defense will get to Baker a little bit. I'm not saying that it's going to be a blowout, but the defense will cause Baker to shake a little bit here. Give me the Ravens to win this game, to knock the Bucs down to 4-3.
Yeah, aside from the Lions-Vikings game, this is my other contender for game of the week. 2 explosive offenses, great run game by the Ravens. We talked about how the Bucs can stay in this, but I think that offense, especially if Rachaad White can, fetch Gatorade and towels instead of fetching negative yards for the Bucs. I think Baker Mayfield has the weapons on offense. Cade Otton has been great. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, of course. I think Baker has what it takes to keep him in this game, and I think the Cannons are going to be firing at home. I'm taking the upset here. This is not an anti-Lamar one this time. This is simply, I think the Bucs at home on Monday night. I think they're going to pull it out and they're going to upset Baltimore.
Gotcha. No. Last Monday night game exclusively on ESPN Plus. So the Los Angeles Chargers, the Arizona Cardinals in the desert. I don't care that much about this game, but give me the Bolts here. Give me the Chargers to cover the 2.5-point spread. No Marvin Harrison probably. So just give me the Chargers here.
Concussion confirmed by Gannon 2 days ago. Yeah, Marvin Harrison's probably out. I'm going to be honest. We saw Kyler Murray come back last year and go on an absolute tear on the return without Marvin Harrison, with less weapons. Chargers defense has been solid. James Conner is still a monster in the backfield. My biggest concern is the offense in Chargers. They still don't have an identity. The depth chart for the wide receivers changes every day, not even every week. It changes every single day. I haven't seen anything that tells me that they're going to be, I don't know. I'm riding solo on this. I know Harrison's out, but I think the Cardinals win this one at home.
And Cam, when it comes to your question, do you have any other options for flex besides Ladd and Brandon Ayuk? Just let us know that, because I would love to hear that one. Doc, though, that was this week's.
If it comes down to those two, play Ayuk. I'd take Ayuk over Ladd. Ladd still got some work to show.
Well, Doc, it's time, man. It's time to talk. We have 2 games to talk about in college football, 2 massive SEC games. We were going to look at the bracket that we had, or our playoff predictions. But, Doc, do you want to start with the top premier game of the week, or do you want to start with Alabama and Tennessee? I'll leave that one.
Surprise me, dude. Surprise me.
Well, we started with the top game last week, so we'll start with this same thing this week. We are arguably the biggest game of the season up to this point. Could be the biggest game. Not saying the best game, but it's going to be one of the most important games coming into this college football season, especially for implications in the SEC, because if the Georgia Bulldogs, who are ranked number 5, if they lose to number 1 Texas, I think Georgia might be eliminated from the SEC championship game. They would already have 2 losses in the conference, Doc. LSU, A&M, and Texas would be undefeated. If LSU, obviously, and A&M win this week, and of course Texas would be unbeaten. Number 1 Texas, number 5 Georgia, Doc. what are you looking at here? What's catching your eye between these two teams?
I've got to see Texas defense shut down Georgia. Georgia has been the premier defense in all of college football for the last 2-3 years. The offenses, I said the last 2-3 years. The Georgia offense has showed signs late. They've had signs of struggling early. So I think Texas needs to come out. If their offense can, especially with the struggles that the Georgia defense has had this year, Texas is going to come out, play the offensive game that they do, kind of like we saw against Michigan. If their defense can come out and hold Beck down, keep this Georgia offense at bay, which I think they are capable of doing, no problem. I honestly see 2, maybe 3-score game from Texas here.
So, Doc, I said it after Saturday night. I'm not sure who. I've said it a couple times to a few different people. When I look at this game here, you kind of were hitting it right there on the head. Texas is the best defense that Georgia has faced up to this point. It will be the best team defensively that they have faced. And the offense for Georgia will be the best offense that my team, Texas, is facing. So the question, honestly, is which side then wins, right, Doc? Because that's what you were alluding to. We're the number 1 ranked defense in yards allowed per game. We are the number 1 team allowed in points per game. We're only giving up 229 yards a game, 0.7, and 6.3 points a game there. So can our defense – I'm not saying we're going to hold Georgia to 7 points. I'm not unrealistic here. But if we hold them to 20, 24 points this game, Doc, I believe Texas can win. The first game I ever watched, Cam, was a Texas game. I mean, that truly was the
same how I'm Florida State.
And I hate to say it was a championship game. And I growing up in Florida, there was a lot of Florida State. It was the Rose Bowl. It was the first game I ever watched. It was just, I fell in love with Vince Young. I mean, and I went back and watched Vince Young, all the shit that happened after that. And then Colt McCoy is my favorite player of Texas. That's truly when I started watching. I don't claim the championship as much. I mean, I do because it happened, but you know what I mean? I started watching them more mainly because of McCoy with that championship game. And we've been shit for years, so it's not like I'm back on a bandwagon here. I've been riding with Texas forever, so we've been shit for a long time prior to this last.
I can attest to that. I can attest to that.
I've seen teams. I want to see teams win, like Clemson. I wanted to see win back in the day and things like that.
Fuck Clemson.
But I was only because I like Dabo, and I kind of like Dan Lanning now. But
fuck Dabo. But no, here's my concern with Texas is as kind of shaky the Bulldogs offense has looked in recent weeks. Mm-hmm. This is also the first real offense that you guys are facing all season.
Yeah, I agree with that.
This is going to be the first test. We've had a lot of non-conference. Michigan is all defense. We all know that. Mississippi State is dog shit. Oklahoma's all defense. This is the first real offense you guys are playing. And this is why I say I know your offense is going to be able to stand up to it because you guys did it against Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a top defense in my opinion.
With a rusty Quinn Ewers.
Very, very good defense in Oklahoma, and y'all went and made easy work out of them. But also, again, because you're talking like an FBS defense and like a D3 offense.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So it's true. And that's why I think it's going to be a good game. It's going to be interesting. Now, I do think the defense is good enough to hold Georgia, but this is definitely one of the top games of the year. Georgia can absolutely make the upset. My money is going to be on Texas. I'm probably not betting on them actually because I'm taking a hiatus from college football betting for the rest of the year because this shit is just too unpredictable. I do think Texas wins this game, but I mean, I could see if Texas comes out and that defense holds Georgia's offense for the first half, I think this becomes a 2 to 3 score game. The alternative is going to be back-to-back, and you guys played well against an Oklahoma defense, but that was kind of a game that you went in expecting to win. I don't think the mindset, even though the players think that we're going to win every game, I think there's still that kind of reservation of like, shit, y'all, this is still Georgia. This is still a great defense. They haven't looked superior the last couple weeks, but this is a great defense, and y'all are going to have to work for it. Y'all are going to have to earn it.
I agree. Both teams have to work for it, and like you said, can our defense do it? This is the best defense that they're going to face too. And
True.
Steve Sarkisian, before we left the Big 12, he was building the trenches, offensive line and defensive line, to be an SEC style team. They are big, they're physical, they're strong, and they're nasty. That's what you need to have in the SEC. I've never been a big SEC fanboy and whatnot.
Because everybody in the SEC on the defensive side is a Will Anderson Jr.
Yeah, they're huge, they're massive, they're fast, and that's what our offensive line is. And our defense too. We have arguably one of the best players on the defensive line, is a freshman, true freshman. So another thing too, Doc, I wanted to bring this up because Chris sent it in one of our chats, and I said too, the last few years is no knock at Georgia, but the last few years they haven't had to go on the road for like a top 10 matchup. Not saying that SEC schools on the road are hard, but are easy. But he's 0-3. Kirby Smart is never beaten a top 10 team on the road. He's 0-3 in his career. He's allowed 40 points in each game. He's also 5-5 on the road in ranked matchups, but 10-1 at home, winning 10 straight. It's also the first time in 50 games that Georgia's an underdog when they played Clemson in 2021 to start the season. So the fact is, they struggle, and I said it against Alabama too. Could Carson Beck hold up in Tuscaloosa in a nasty environment, nasty stadium to play in at night?
He did, in my opinion.
He came back. First half, not so much.
Right, but he did hold up. He came back. That really was a lack of defense game, in my opinion, especially that drive back by Alabama to win it late. I think Texas can hold him in check, at least enough to keep this game close. I'm talking like a 27-24 type game, or 24-21 type game. But I would not be surprised in the slightest to see Georgia come in and upset. And the only reason is because of the fact that Texas, aside from the Oklahoma defense, has not really faced any adversity or any challenge, in my opinion, this season. The Michigan defense, while I think has looked really strong recently, I think to open up the season, they were not, when you guys played them, they were not the Michigan defense that they are now. I think that it complacency is what's going to cost you guys a game, is coming in too big head, being number one again, being undefeated and thinking we take down Georgia, we're winning the conference. You guys got to keep your wits about you and continue to play the game that you've been playing all year. And
I will say, like you said, with adversity, we've only trailed for a few minutes of the season, and that came against Oklahoma was 3-0 and then 3-4 straight points.
And that's what I'm saying. And it's very easy to fall down 2 scores in the first quarter and start trying to do too much. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Doesn't matter what the scheme is. You're getting out there trying to do too much, and you start making mental mistakes, and that's where you start to derail. And I think that's what happened with Carson Beck against Alabama. And then I think at halftime they regrouped and were like, hey, we got to get back to our roots. We got to get back to Georgia football and not what we've been trying. We got to trust in our process and our game plan because it's worked so much in the past. And that's what Texas has to come out and do no matter what the start of this game is. You've got to trust in Texas football and the game plan and know that if you continue to play the way you've been doing all year, but that's where, like you said, that's where that complacency coming in, and you not trailing much all year. You're not used to that feeling. Then when you get there, you're like, holy shit, I've got to jump the line and sack this quarterback right now to get this team to win. You don't play your game. Let it develop naturally. You guys will make the right moves. It is not a sprint. It's a marathon. Play the game the way you guys have been doing it all year long, and you'll be fine.
I think with Alabama, though, too, when Georgia played them, Alabama kind of let off the gas a little bit. They kind of played a little
100%.
bit conservative. And Sarkisian, as much as people give him shit in the past where he's been at before, with Texas the last couple of years, he has the boys playing at a different level. Like it's a lot more business-like. It's business time. I mean, I get it. We lost Oklahoma last year and we lost to the Huskies. Okay, understandable. Two teams that were good last year. And even if we do lose to Georgia, by the way, if it's a close game, I feel confident the rest of the year still going forward that we will make the SEC championship.
Oh, 100%.
Get our chance. But
at least the playoffs.
But Georgia definitely, they're going to play a lot more hungrier because if they lose this game, their SEC championship hopes, in my opinion, are very they're pretty much they're poofing. They're gone. There's already 2 losses. You can't do it because you said you have LSU or A&M and Bama or Tennessee will have 1 loss or less. So they have to win this game. Georgia has to win this game.
Honestly, the way winning the conference championship gets you the first round bye. And actually, it doesn't even necessarily get you. It doesn't even necessarily get you. I know, but it doesn't even necessarily give you the first round bye because, if Texas is number 1 and the team you're playing in the conference championship is 25 and 25 wins, it's the higher rating, right? Or is it the conference winner?
No, highest conference highest Power 4 conference winner. Well,
All right.
I believe a Group 5 winner can get it, but they have to be higher than the Power 4. And I
Right.
don't think
Yeah, they can. It has to be higher than Power 4, but so and they won't be in the ratings. Honestly, if I'm Georgia coming into this game, I'm not worried about the SEC championship. It gets you a first round bye. It gets you a first round
Tennessee
bye.
still too. That's the thing. They still got to play Tennessee.
No, I know. But I'm not saying don't worry about winning this game. I'm saying I'm not focused on we got to win this game for the conference championship. I'm focused on we got to win this game because we got to win this game. The conference championship with NIL and with the new college football playoff format, honestly, conference championships, like the top 4 get you a first round bye. But outside of that, and odds are if you're depending on where you're at in the standing, it don't even matter who you're playing. Like if Georgia's going against Liberty in the first game, Georgia's winning that football game. You know what I mean? So you don't need a conference championship for that one.
No, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I just feel like Georgia, they can't play around anymore because, like I said, they still have a hard game with Tennessee, even though Tennessee's struggling a little bit. If you lose to Texas and you lose one more, you're not getting in with 3 losses. I don't care if you're Georgia, Alabama, Texas, the big names.
Oh, yeah. Either way, they can still fall out of the top 12. They can fuck around and find out. 100%.
But I think, well, Doc, before we move to topics, what's your prediction? Who wins?
I got Texas winning, but I think it's a 1-score game. I think Texas can make it a 2 to 3 score game if they can come out and attack this defense and thread the needle, but I think Georgia keeps it a 1-score game.
I believe you there. Hook 'em horns, baby. Texas is winning this game. We will be 7-0. We will remain number 1, and I think it's going to be a good game regardless of who wins. I don't see either team blowing each other out. I mean, it's college football, anything can happen, but it would be disappointing. And Doc, speaking of disappointing, the 2 teams we're about to talk about right here, number 7, Alabama, number 11, Tennessee, 2 teams that have been disappointing, even though they won last week. I don't know. I mean, we talked about Georgia needing a that must win. The loser of this game is completely out of the SEC championship. They're not bouncing back from it. They're playing with fire because both teams have a challenging schedule still ahead of them. Doc, what must Tennessee do or what must Alabama do to pull off this win? Because I don't know, honestly, which way I'm leaning towards here.
I mean, I don't think either team is out of the SEC championship with a loss here just because they both got one. If they lose, Georgia loses. That only puts them 1 game behind. Georgia can lose another one. Ole Miss has lost one already. I mean, it's still up in the air. We're still
A&M and LSU are unbeaten.
A&M will do A&M things.
Yeah.
And LSU, honestly, LSU is on the warpath to getting a loss here soon. They have got to do a better job controlling the game and not coming down late and not allowing comebacks and things like that. But for me, for Tennessee, I've got to see Nico Iamaleava. Like, I've got to see him play. We've seen it against the lesser teams, and I'm not expecting to come out in like 30 or 35 for 450 yards against Alabama, but I've got to see a little bit better than I saw last week against Florida. I mean, 16 to 26 is not terrible, but 169 yards, no touchdowns and a pick, a 17.5, QBR. One of the things that I've been so high on with Tennessee has been this offense and the play calling and the execution. And like last week was just an absolute embarrassment, in my opinion, for Tennessee. Win or not, that was a game in Nashville that should not have played. They played it like it was a swamp. You know what I'm saying? You let Florida come in there and dictate the terms and won a late game. Tennessee has got to come out and play this game. If I want to be convinced of their chances, not only in the SEC championship, but even surviving in the playoffs, I've got to see them come out and play like they did in the first 4 weeks against this Alabama defense. If Alabama wants to be successful, I mean, you've got to come out on the start like you did against Georgia, and you've got to not let off the gas, continue to shove it down their throat. Not even shove it down their throat, but you've got to play a style of football that doesn't get on the defensive and just 3 and out, running the ball, taking a minute and a half off the clock each time, and allowing an offense like Tennessee that can be one of the most explosive offenses in the country to come out and burn you.
If I'm Tennessee, it's simple, Doc. I'm not. You mentioned Nico. I'm going to mention the running back, Dalen Sampson. That's the key to winning this game. Alabama's been struggling against the run the
He
last
had a
couple
good game
weeks.
last week.
Dylan Sampson is a top 7-8 rusher this year with yards. Dylan Sampson is one of the reasons why Tennessee has been winning these games, these close games against the Gators. I get it, they lost Arkansas, but they need to feed Dylan Sampson. Alabama's been struggling against Vanderbilt, against South Carolina. You have one of the best running backs in football. Just run the ball. Take the pressure off Nico. That will actually help Nico a little bit because the play action, like I said, I always mention play action. It will be there for him. You keep Alabama with Jalen Milroe and Miller, the running back, and what is it? Jeremiah's Ryan Williams off the field. Keep them off the field. That's all you gotta do. Keep the Alabama offense off the field. Keep them cold.
Control the game.
Run the clock. You have the running back to do it. Pound the ball down their throats. Do what Vanderbilt did. Do what South Carolina was doing. They couldn't finish it off.
And they'll be able to do it against an Alabama defense that has not looked top tier this year.
Kellen DeBoer also, Luke said today, this is what he said. This is the most corny thing I've ever said. He said, Kellen DeBoer said he isn't worried about the crowd noise at Tennessee because he coached at Washington and he knows loud. What do you mean you know loud? What, you went to Oregon? You went to Oregon? Like, come on. Tennessee is not a state.
Hey, he coached in the Pac-2. You put some respect on it.
And what does that mean?
He went to Oregon State. Yeah. He went to Washington State. Listen, he coached in front of all 45 fans when they played Stanford.
And Bo, good luck to your Arkansas Razorbacks this week as they play LSU. That's a big game for both teams too. No, don't go Hawks. Go Falcons. But I just think
Bears. Bears.
He's a Seahawks guy. But when it comes to this game here, man, it's just simple, man. Like I said, run the ball. I don't know. I don't trust Tennessee. I've never trusted Tennessee. But back to Kellen DeBoer, I think there's a lame comment because Knoxville is going to be buzzing. There's probably been a lot of stadium he's played in as a Washington coach now at Alabama. Volunteers are going to be rough.
Tennessee is a different atmosphere.
It's a 3:30 game too. So not the full night atmosphere, but still going to be ruckus.
A full night atmosphere is different with the lights, though.
Yes. Texas got the night game. ESPN or ABC, obviously they wanted the primetime game to be Texas-Georgia. Rightfully so. And then Bama, Tennessee's the 3:30 slot. They did it right. But still, 3:30 gets dark a little early nowadays. But the night, it won't be fully dark, but it will be dusk a little bit.
They'll be fine.
But who do you have winning this game?
I'm taking Tennessee at home. I mean, I talked about a lot. I think Sampson comes out, plays his game. The whole thing to me is contingent on Nico being able to move the chains when he needs to in the big situations. Williams has been phenomenal for Alabama in the receiving core, but this defense has looked shaky. For me, that this is going to be driven by home field advantage.
And Ryan Williams did not look as strong against the South Carolina Gamecocks last week, neither.
Well, nobody on that team did. Let's be real.
Yeah. I have Alabama here. I'm going to
ride. The hardest effort was the water boy. I mean, that man was hustling getting the bottles out there on the field.
I'm going to ride with Alabama, even though Tennessee does have a pretty good defense. That's one thing we didn't actually talk about. Their defense is pretty good. But I'm going to ride with Alabama. I honestly don't know. I just don't know who to trust. I don't know. I don't trust Milroe. I don't trust Nico. I don't know if I trust Josh.
I'm not betting on college football no more.
Yeah, this is a tough game. But no, I'm going to go Alabama here, but it's not a given. Like, I mean, you tell me Tennessee wins, I'll say, well, I mean, I understand. But there's a couple of the big games too, Doc. We're not going to talk about them, but like I said, LSU.
Well, we're going to talk about one. We're going to talk about one. Yeah. We're going to talk about how my Fighting Illini are going to take down the Michigan Wolverines. Simply because the defense for Illinois has looked pretty good. They're going to play at home in Champaign against their maximum capacity, 5,000 fans. I've been saying for years this team needs a new stadium. We need to see some consistent winning, and hopefully we'll finally get a Bull Stadium. But I think what's going to drive this is the lack of offense in Michigan. Rumor has it, everybody they put under center this year, nobody has been an actual quarterback. Heard they put a fullback as quarterback this year. None of them are actually quarterbacks. They all are dog shit. So look for Illinois to come in here and make the upset. This team has been such a joy to watch for the first time in I don't know how many years. I mean, I'm talking like Juice Williams are exciting to watch. Been having a great time. Luke Altmaier has been doing
Playing
incredible
good. No,
things.
he's playing good.
14 touchdowns, 1 interception. Had his first one against the fuck was it? Oh, Penn State. Had his first one against Penn State. But 1,400 yards, completion percentages there. I'm expecting this great passing offense to come in here. The run game has looked good as well, even though Chase Brown is gone. And this defense that held Nebraska in check for the most part, took the game in overtime. But if you watch that end of regulation and that end and that overtime, the pressure put on, I mean, this Illinois front was just drowning Dylan Raiola and putting the pressure on him, keeping him from being able to make plays. And if they can come out with that same energy. No, they did. They allowed a comeback against Purdue. Not late. You're right. Not against Purdue. But they did that. I actually, here was the worst part about that is that game was in the second quarter and it was looking so bad. And I was like, yep, good time to catch a nap. Woke up for overtime. It was like, what the hell happened? What the hell happened?
What did I miss here?
Yeah. Learned you can't sleep on Illinois. So, also was a true freshman I don't know about true freshman, but freshman in his first start for Purdue. So really no game tape on him. But no, I think Illinois is going to come out here, handle business. Illinois is going to 6-1. I think they're 5-1. So going to 6-1. Michigan's done.
Well, it's not very hard to beat Michigan. Texas did it pretty easily, and Minnesota beat them.
Oh, okay? Bringing Illinois into the Texas conversation. I like that.
Bringing the Minnesota conversation.
No. Bring Illinois right up there.
Well, Minnesota did it too. So just did last week.
Hey, relax. Okay, you don't have to fucking look. You said something good. I thank you for it. You didn't have to get disrespectful.
That was respect towards Riz. He's a golden gopher. Fuck
the Gophers. All right. You didn't have to put my Fighting Illini on the same level as Minnesota. Minnesota nobody Gophers. Okay.
I'm just saying, man. Michigan's beatable. Doc, we're an hour 40 in. Did you want to talk about? I know Chris, it's his idea to revisit our fucking playoff predictions we had before the season started. I mean,
this is a good week to do it, but with only 2 of us, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we will save this hopefully for next week. I mean,
because everybody's got to have a chance, everybody that can.
My ACC team and my Big 12 school definitely looks wrong, and I'm hoping my SEC school looks wrong because I did have.
I don't remember who the fuck I picked. Who did I pick for ACC?
ACC, Doc, you had Florida State as the 3 seed too, by the way.
God damn it. Fuck my ass.
Me and you both had the same top 4. I'm hoping that Texas, because I had us beating Georgia and then losing to Georgia in the SEC championship, but I believe if we beat Georgia this week, we won't see Georgia in the SEC championship. So that changes everything for my predictions. And I'm okay to be wrong in the SEC. But Doc, great episode, man. This weekend's going to be fun. Saturday is going to be noisy. It's going to be annoying as hell because I already know that Luke, Jake, and Chris will be chirping if Quinn Ewers makes one wrong throw. They will be all over him because it's Georgia. And they'll be begging for Arch to come in, old Archibald Manning to come back in to play quarterback. So it's going to be loud Saturday for sure. It's going to suck too. If we start losing. But Sunday too, Doc, like I said, you're stress-free. Good luck this week in fantasy matchups. And we will get back here Tuesday. Again. I beat you in Dynasty. I end up pulling it off after
that. I fucking did all my goddamn. I have all the talent in the world in all my fantasy teams. And literally everybody that I play has fucking career days when my guys do well or my guys just come out and lay up complete goose eggs. I'm fucking.
Well, Luke,
I'm about to retire from all football, dude.
Luke jinxed you after the London games. He said, damn, Mark wasn't enjoying that or something like shit like that. And I was like, I definitely wasn't because your 2 players killed me. But then Chris Godwin and Baker, even though he had 3 interceptions, he woke up. I mean, all my guys, I had -1 from ETN.
Dude, I have been getting fucked at every opportunity in fantasy in all 3 leagues. It is what it is. I'm chalking up all these.
You could be Chris. He has no quarterback this week.
I'm about to fire sale and just go for draft picks.
Oh, I'm interested in that. But yeah, Chris is in a situation. He has no quarterback this week. Caleb Williams on a bye week, and Tua's hurt, so he has no quarterback playing this week. Automatic L.
That's tough.
But, yeah, Doc, we'll see you Tuesday
And
night.
of course, it's not the week I'm playing him.
Yeah, I would love my taco week. Also, shout out to the Dodgers. They're up 7-0 right now over the Mets. Yankees are up 2-0 in the ALCS over the Cleveland Guardians. Tomorrow night's game 3. We'll see if we can get that to 3-0 and be 1 away from the World Series. Somewhere we've not been since 2009. But, Doc, also White Sox might be for sale too. Saw that today. So a lot of baseball stuff popped up today. But yeah, let's buy them. But no, Doc, we'll see you Tuesday night. I'm Mark Davis. That's Nick the Doc Skirkwins. This is All About the Balls podcast. Good luck to everyone's NFL team and college ball team this weekend. Have a good night. See you Tuesday.